everybody, welcome to Shelf Control. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Norm.
And today we're talking about Stefan Feld's Marrakesh from the City Collection number 4.
We're skipping number 3.
We'll discuss it later.
This is my game. I usually win this one.
So here's an example of your player board. Every player gets one of these. So it's a 4-player game. It can take up a lot of table space.
Yeah.
Because you've got your main board here, which is about the size of your typical board game. And then each person has one of these, which adds up to more than this size.
And there's a piece that goes on top of here as well. So if 4 people are playing, you've got more than 2 typical board game sizes on your table. So it is going to take up some space.
Your board will end up being that big. So
just be prepared for that if you want a 4-player game. And so there's, 8 sections, 9 sections? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sections on your board. So
let's go through them.
Let's have, we'll start with brown, which is your oasis. And as you open up some of these oasis tiles, you'll kind of put them at the top of the section that's not there. And that gets you extra points at the end of the game.
It gives you an end game scoring, maybe a goal that you'll want to go for, because you might get points for how many blue keshis. That's the name of these little wooden pieces. They're keshis.
Yep, it could be however many oasis tiles you uncover and buy. So you kind of want to go for those. Your green section is going to give you points each time you put a green keshi in. It also will give you dates when you activate it, and dates are needed throughout the game. Your gray section is what you'll actually use the dates for. So that allows you to buy scrolls.
It's this area here.
And this scroll, it takes a certain number of the gray keshis and dates to purchase those.
And these scrolls can give you either an immediate bonus, or it can give you a special power that activates throughout the game.
And they are great. They are great. Next section is your white, which allows you to go up the palace track. And as you go up, you get bonuses and gets you points as well. Your tan section
goes around the white.
Allows you to build walls. So as you build walls, it gives you keshis and it gives you points. But you do have to pay for those. And your black section allows you to go up the mosque track of the board. So that again gets you bonuses, it gets you extra points, money, things like that. Your blue is your water, the river. So that allows you to go up the track on the river, which gets you resources and gives you bonus points as well. And the person at the end of each season, I guess, that has the highest track, you get bonuses at the end of that season.
For whoever's traveled the furthest.
Right. And then your next section is more of a market. So it allows you to buy items from the market, which gives you points and sometimes resources as well. And then the last section is the pink section, which basically just gives you resources. And as you activate it, you can get extra resources. So that's the board in a nutshell.
And for people to help keep track, they do have a player aid that lists all the different areas and how they work. And the other side is German if you need those.
Danke.
This is the deluxe edition that has these wonderful dual layer board.
Dual layer boards are the best.
That will hold your guys when you place them in, and it'll hold your keshis in place when you place them. This game has a bunch of different versions. I don't know how many of them have the dual layer boards. There's different price points and things for that, but we have the deluxe version from the Kickstarter.
Which has all the expansions, correct?
They came out with one expansion that we don't have. It came out afterwards.
Well,
we'll talk about that.
Maybe
later.
We'll get it depending on what we think of this game.
The way you decide how you're going to choose your actions, you're going to be doing all the actions on the board once a season, plus a wild. So you might be able to do one of them twice.
So you get 12 keshis to start, and it's one of each color.
Everybody is going to get one of each color.
I just said that.
I know.
There's also red keshies, and those, as you put them in the specific sections on the board, are your water vendors. So if you activate a section with a red keshi, you get a water token, and you'll need that. We'll talk about that as what you might need the water for.
So every player has one of these screens that is used.
It's a gate. It's your palace walls.
To hide the 12 keshis that you have, because the game is played over 3 seasons with 4 rounds in it. And since you have 12 keshis, one of each color, what you're going to do, you have 3 workers that you can put out. You're going to pick 3 colored keshis and put your person
I don't have 3 keshis.
in each of those areas. So in this case, I've got a blue, I've got a green, and I've got a yellow, which goes into the market. Yellow, purple, and orange goes in the market.
Give me 3 keshis.
So we'll just give her three keshis. So we'll say she picked these 3.
What color were they? 'Cause I didn't want to put them down. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And then my favorite part.
So one person takes all those keshis and drops them into the tower.
And the tower is made up so that it's got all kinds of different levels and layers.
Like shelves in there.
And so as you drop it, not all of them will come out. Sometimes all of them will, sometimes they won't. And if they don't all come out, the next time you drop keshis, they'll stay in there. And the next time you drop keshis, they can come out then. And so sometimes 2 might come out of the 6 that you dropped in for a 2-player. So you'll drop them in there. And in this case, only 5 of them came out.
5 came out, so 1 is still in there.
And what you do is on your drop board, there's colors of each section. And you just basically put the color keshi in that section. And then by turn order, everyone picks a keshi.
You basically draft the keshis that are out there.
And you can only take 2 of one color. So if there happens to be more than 2, you can only take 2.
Yeah, so 3. Oh, it was a yellow that stayed in.
It was a yellow.
If one falls out by accident, they say take it and set it off to the side and drop it with the next ones.
Because it should be in there.
Because if somebody bumps the table, it could make them come out. And so I would take one and then put it on my board in that spot. And then the next player would pick one. And then the next player picks one. The next player, and it comes back to me and I pick one. And you're not even guaranteed to get an equal number of keshis coming around, because it's just random how many come out. Then, after everybody's picked until all the keshis are gone, in player order, you activate each of your spot. And you have basically 2 choices when you activate a spot. So here in the blue, I can either activate it and just get another blue keshi and add it to that spot, making that action more stronger in the future. Or I could go ahead and take the action for that spot's action, which is moving up the river the number of spaces equal to the blue keshis that you have. So you've got to think, does it make sense for me to move, like in this case, moving up 3 gets me past this rapids, which will give me a bonus at the end of the round. So is that worth not making this stronger in the next?
And if you end up in the same section as someone previously there, they're still in the lead.
You have to pass them. First person in the spot is considered in the front.
And when you take the action to go up the river, you can actually pay a water token to move up an additional space. So if you have 10 extra water tokens, you can use it to move up 10 extra spaces on the river, which is pretty strong. But water sometimes can be hard to come by. So you get resources. The resources are water, dates, and money. Gold or dinars. So at the beginning of each game, you get 3 of these basically missions that you have to do. What are they called?
They're at random. I don't know what they call them.
But you get 3 of them at random, and they each have resources on it. And each season, you uncover one of them, and you have to achieve everything that's uncovered by the end of that season, which is basically feeding your people in your town.
That's another thing that Steffenfeld likes to do.
Yes.
He likes to throw something in where it's like, you're going to be doing all this awesome stuff, but here's something that you have to do, and if you don't, you're going to lose a lot of points.
Yep, and it's 4 points for each section you don't complete. And if at the end of the 3rd season you've got all 3 of them uncovered, if you don't have enough to just complete one of them. If you've got enough to complete all of them but one, you're still out the 12 points.
It's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing, and you lose whatever resources you have total, even ones that don't even apply to feeding.
You would just lose all of them and lose 12 points in the third.
So it's rough. You want to make sure you have your resources to feed your people. So there's ways to get money and water and dates, but you've got to be careful and strategic to make sure you get what you need to complete that end of season feeding that you have to have, whatever it's called.
And talking about the end of the season, after everybody takes all their actions, you'll take 3 more of your remaining 9, and then the next turn you take 3 more, and once everyone has taken all 12 of their actions, that's the end of the season, and that's when you trigger the bonus for whoever's further up the river, and you've got these are called provision tiles.
Provision tiles.
So you got to pay all the resources for that or lose the points. And then you move the first player token and the Stefan Feld token to the next person in line to show that they're going first. And so you get 12 new, one of each color.
So at the end of each round, so there's 4 rounds in each season. At the end of each round, the other person gets to go first and choose first off the Keshis. Also, at the end of each round, if you've passed one of these little sections of the river, you get to choose what you want. So this first section, you just get a point. So if you've passed it at the end of that round, you get a point. If you end up passing this next section, you get a choice of either 1 provision or a point. Again, the next one would be a choice of a specific color Keshi or provision or point. So the further up you go, at the end of each round, you have more choices of a bonus you get. And that's something we forget to do a lot.
Yeah, going into like the one main criticism I have of this game, which might let you know how much I like this game, it is so much of this game is so good at dictating the flow of the game. You have 12 Keshis. You pick 3 a turn. When you have no more Keshis, the season's over. You know, there's no tracker on the board that you have to be like, okay, that was one round, that was 2 rounds, that was 3 rounds, because a lot of times you'll forget to do that and be like, oh, I think we're actually in round 3, so let's move it up 2. Because if there's no mechanism in the game to remind you to do it, a lot of times we'll forget it.
Yeah, because you're focusing on so many different things on this game.
And in this game, when you finish putting out your 3 Keshis and taking your 3 actions, we automatically just start thinking, okay, what 3 actions am I taking next turn? We don't think, oh, we need to stop and do the river. Yeah. And evaluate that.
Yeah.
And so we'll forget this so many times because there's nothing in the game that reminds you, hey, this is something you need to do before you move on. I don't know. I don't even know how you would do that. But yeah, that's one criticism. There's one part of the game that doesn't announce itself. And so we'll forget that. It is a small thing though. It's like 1 point or a resource.
Yeah, but it's not big.
But it could mean, oh, I didn't have to get a date another way. I could have gotten my date here and gone somewhere else.
And the 1 marketplace color Keshi could be the difference between a 4-point item in the marketplace or a 10-point or 13-point item in the marketplace. So it could be pretty substantial. So that's something we try to remember when we play, but oftentimes we just forget.
Yeah, we need to come up with some way to
string on our finger
to remind us. Yeah, I don't know. But that might be an us problem. So
and for the first up until yesterday we were playing just the base game, and then we introduced all of the expansions that we had.
It comes with 5. I think it's 5 modules that you can add.
So it introduces, I guess, the ruler. The Sultan.
The Imam and the Sultan.
The Sultan, and then I don't want to say his name wrong.
There's the Sultan and the Imam. I-M-A-M.
Okay. So you've got those that as soon as your color meets where he starts, then he travels with you. And as long as he is with you, you get a bonus of when you buy from the marketplace, it takes one less keshi. So that's a bonus there. When you're traveling with the Sultan, he allows you to pay one less date when you're getting a scroll. So that can be very helpful as well when you're buying scrolls that just take one
So it's a
date.
nice little bonus. They start about halfway up, so early in the game, it's not giving you any bonus. As soon as somebody grabs him and he starts traveling up, you got that bonus. But somebody else could go, and if they pass, he'll follow him instead.
Yep. As you're traveling up each track, once you cross a section of one side, you get a coin. But then you can also see, okay, from where your one color guy is to the other side, you connect that line and it shows you particular bonuses you can get, and you choose one. You either have 2 gold, a keshi of any color of my choice, or 3 points. And so you would decide what you want from there. And as he would climb up, you would do the same thing. You would find out where he is, that section, go down to that section on the other side and pick the resource there. So this one of the modules just kind of changes that up a little bit from what's on the board.
There's rewards printed on the board that you can play with, and they stay the same every game. But they came with one of the modules was these random tiles that can add different colored keshis, different
Which
things.
makes it a bit more interesting.
And it just changes up the board a little bit, where it's like, okay, I really need such and such, so I'm going to move up there.
Mm-hmm.
One neat thing with the staircase is not every section is connected to every other section.
Right.
So if you're just moving up this track here, this second spot is connected to the first spot, so you would get a bonus. If this guy jumps up here and this guy's still down there, this spot doesn't connect to the first spot, so you don't get a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think, okay, maybe before I cross that spot in the black staircase, let's bump my white up a little bit to cross here to get this bonus. Then when this guy goes, he does have a connection there.
So there's so many moving pieces that you have to just keep track of to make sure you're getting the most out of your turn. So there are things that can allow you in the pink section, you can actually move up one space on the white, and that might help you before you even activate your white section to get you to cross that first, cross point to get the extra bonuses. So you really need to make sure you're playing in the right order, because sometimes if you play out of the right order, you've really messed yourself up that turn and lost a substantial amount of points or resources that you can get.
And along the same lines, you have to be careful about which 3 actions you pick. You might be like, okay, I want to do a brown action, I want to do a white action, I want to do a pink action. If you choose to do all those in one turn, all 3 of those keshis are going in there, but these then get drafted. And so somebody might take your brown keshi, somebody might take your white keshi, somebody might take your
and
pink
it may not
keshi.
even fall out. I mean, it may not even come out.
It can get stuck in there. Yeah. And so a lot of times, I don't know that this is the best strategy, but I'll pick one thing that is like, I'm going to do brown, and then I don't care about this color, and maybe one that is like, I don't care if I get this keshi to do that action. But, instead of 3 that it's like, I need these 3 keshis.
You're giving away your strategy,
You're not going to... Yeah, my losing strategy.
That's true.
So
I won't give my strategy.
take that with a grain of salt. But if you need all 3 keshis that turn, odds are you're not going to get all 3 of those keshis. And so I'll try to throw some trash keshis in.
What did you call me?
In there that is like, okay, I don't care about blue. I'm going to throw the blue. I'm going to do the blue action just because if somebody takes the blue, it's not going to break my heart.
Another module that's added are some additional oasis tiles.
Originally, you just have a spot up here to keep your resources.
For the base game, yep.
And the brown section actually has, I'll show it on this one here.
Yeah.
You have your 6 spots here, and then there's 2 spots down here at the bottom that you can fill up.
Yeah. Every section besides the marketplace has 8 of that distinct color keshi that you can place, in addition to the red water vendor that you can put there as well.
And so this is the 8 spots for brown. When you play with this module, it actually comes with a little piece that plugs in down there that gets rid of those 2 spots.
Which is cheeky.
And gives you one that goes in.
Watch these two. He lost his Oasis tiles.
That plugs into your resource here, and when it comes onto the top of your board, it gives you those 2 spots. I'm losing everything here. It gives you those 2 spots that they can go to make up the 8 again.
And as you place your brown keshes, you actually have to follow the path. So there's a path on each side. So you would start here or here, and then you would have to go in order before you can get all the way up to the top, which is the new module. And so the new modules are quite a bit stronger. And once you get up there, you would then place it there. And then if you actually activate it and pay the cost to get it, you would flip it over to the white side, and that shows you've actually bought it. And again, that's when you actually get that bonus. There were new marketplace tiles. So each season, there's going to be, you'll start the game with 3 marketplace tiles here. And at the end of each season, you'll take off the top one, and then the next one will be there. And it's just an additional action you can use. So you can turn in either your purple, orange, or yellow keshes for resources. And so if you need them to complete your, what did they call them? Provision tiles, then this is a way you can get them. So for instance, in this one, you can turn in a yellow to get 2 waters and a date, turn in a purple for 2 dates and a money, or turn in an orange for 2 money and a water. So the provision, one of the modules introduced new ones of these.
Introduced some new ones of these, because the other ones are pretty basic. Generally, it's 2 resources. You turn in the yellow to get 2 water, or in the purple for 2 dates, and another thing for 2 money. And it just changes up what those are. These advanced ones, like in this case, you're getting 3 resources for each.
They even have one where you get just 1 resource.
They got ones where you just get 1, and there's other ones where you'll get, say, maybe like a date, and you get to move up on the river.
Oh, we haven't seen that yet.
Things like that. Yeah, that one hasn't come out, but they're a little bit more varied. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse, and so the module just, you can add these and play with either just the ones from the module, or you can shuffle these in and just have 3 of them come out at random at the game, so you don't know exactly what kind of thing is going to come out.
So Norm introduced all of the modules recently into the game.
We got one more.
We haven't introduced one more. Got it.
So in the basic game for your market, you got the little pink side that shows a number of people, 1, 2, or 3 on the pink side, and that determines the strength of the pink action that you do. The entertainers, I think, is what they call it. You'll turn it and you'll pick one of the spots that has people showing, and get that bonus as equal to the number of people that are there.
But you have to have a pink keshi in that spot to activate it.
On the pink side, it's 1, 2, and 3, and every spot has one. For a module, you can choose to do the purple side, and the purple side has one spot that has 4 people, which is really strong, but it also has one side that has no people. And so
no people,
you've got instead of the one here where it's like, okay, no matter what you need, at least one person is going to be pointing at it. It's like, if you really need a date, it's kind of a crappy move, but if you need that date to not lose 12 points, you're going to turn this to the one spot and get that one date.
And you just go in order clockwise.
If it ended up that turning it puts that 0 at that one date, then you're out of luck. You need to get that date somewhere else. And so it just adds a bigger reward, but also a little bit of a hindrance on the purple side. So that's the fifth module.
So yes, you put in all the modules yesterday, and we played a few times with all of the modules in. Again, when we first played, it was always just the base game. But again, it didn't really play any different. I mean, it was a few things to remember, but pretty much all the actions were made the same.
It
was so smooth.
Changes, it changes what these are.
Yeah.
It doesn't change how this works. It changes the value of the rewards that you'll get with the pink action, but it doesn't change how the pink action works. Moving up with these guys, it has a little tile that you put on the board that tells you what having that person does. It doesn't change how these work. The biggest change is the
Additional oasis
the
tiles.
additional oasis. I don't know what they call them. They're not oases.
Oasis. Oasi.
I've heard it both ways.
Desert towns is what
Desert
those
towns.
are.
Okay.
And so you're following the path up to get to the desert town. That's the biggest change to the game, but it really doesn't change how the brown works. It gives you 2 extra spaces for some bonuses that will either trigger immediately or give you some end game scoring, just like the oasises do. Oasis I'm not sure.
I know you haven't heard both ways.
The oasis tiles.
That's probably the most confusing one.
But
But
it's still
it's not that difficult.
it still plays just like you would the oasis tiles, so it's not that complicated. So this is probably the first game that adding, when he first was telling me about the modules, which do they call them modules or expansions?
No, they're modules.
Okay. So this is the first game where adding modules or expansions did not overwhelm me. So I usually really like the base games and want to play those, and he'll introduce expansions usually one at a time for me so that I get the feel of them. But this time he was like, all right, they're all in. And at first I was like, oh dear. But no, they're all very simple and incorporate so well to the base game that you don't really notice that these modules are in there.
And so this is probably a good time to talk about the expansion that came out for the game.
Do tell.
It's called Camels and Nomads, or Nomads and Camels. I'm not sure which. They did a Kickstarter for it as well.
Did we?
And we did not get it. Primarily because it was like $60 for the expansion. If you've been following these Queen Steffenfeld games on Kickstarter, they are costly.
Expensive.
It was over $400 for the first 4 of the city collection.
Yeah, and we decided not to get the next set, didn't
And
we?
we decided not to get the next set because of changes that they made to the city collection. I don't regret getting the first 4. $60 for an expansion to this game, and it's not even one that we know is good for the game. It gives you something else you can do with your keshies. So, like, a lot of times you'll take an action in space, and if, like in the case of blue, if you're not focusing on blue, moving up 3 on the river might not do anything for me. It gives you some other place that you could put that keshi for a bonus, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the camels. You're sending spectators to go watch the camel race.
Okay.
And then they have nomads, which I think is like a different color keshi that is taller than the others, I think. And if you get them, you can put them in a spot, and they count for that spot, but they're not, like, if I put it in the blue, it counts as a blue for the blue actions, but it's not a blue keshi. And then you can, like, spend something every turn to move it to be like, okay, now he's over here.
Oh, interesting.
And
One thing we didn't say is if you fill a whole section with that color keshi, including the water vendor, that's 10 points at the end of the game. So you want to try to fill in as many sections as possible because that is 10 points at the end of the game.
she got 3 filled last game. I got 2 filled. So you're not going to fill every single spot.
No.
So you got to think about.
I think there was one game I filled 4, and that was a lot. I mean, that was probably the most that I filled. So
Yeah. So end game scoring, 10 points for every filled spot, having all 9, 8 colored keshis and your red water keshi. Then you score 3 of your claimed oases. So you've oasis tiles. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can have 6 up here, and you'll get bonuses for having that many. But for end game scoring, you pick your 3 highest scoring ones out of those 6 and score those. And then any resources that are left over, divided by 2 for a tiny bit of points on top of that.
And those resources will also include any yellow, purple, or orange keshies that you haven't used to buy from the
Which
marketplace.
are the markets. Because the market is the one place that you can't fill up to the 10 points.
So that goes towards your additional resources. So again, after you feed your people, all your resources that are left over divided by 2, and those are additional points.
And that's it.
That's
the end
it.
of the game.
And then you end up with 120
So you're 135.
to 135. So that's just how you do it, folks. Now this goes up to 200. I don't think we've ever gone over 200.
We have never had it flip to 200.
Yeah. So well done to
mean,
people who do that.
If you have, that's great.
And we've played this game quite a bit.
So we'll try to get there. We haven't played it with 4, but we have played it with 3 quite a few times.
Yes. And everyone that we've played this with enjoys the game. So what do you like about it?
I like...
What would you score it? Or are we just talking about likes?
I'm just going to talk about likes first. I might end, and I'll end with a score. For how complex this game is with all the different moving parts, it's not a difficult teach. And it also gives you the game in little bite-sized chunks that are easy to digest. Yeah, I've got 12 actions that I'm going to be doing in a season. I just need to think about which 3 am I doing this turn. I'm not thinking about all 12 if I don't want to. I might be like, okay, I'm going to do this, and the next turn I'm going to do that. But it puts it into little bite-sized chunks of, okay, you're just doing 3 of the 12. Next turn, you're just doing 3 of the remaining 9, and then you're doing 3 more, and then you're doing 3 more. And I really like that from a teach perspective.
One thing with Stefan Feld games for me is when he first takes them out and puts them out on the table, they look extremely overwhelming. So it always, he'll always say, hey, do you want to play it? I trust him. I know that I'm going to like a Stefan Feld game for the most part. But the board, everything just looks incredibly overwhelming, and it makes me want to not play it. And him explaining it is, again, so much that your brain feels like it's going to explode. It is an easy teach, but for me, I learn better as I play. So does a lot of people that we have introduced this game to. So as long as you know kind of the basics of each section, to me, playing it the first time is my learning for the game. So I don't expect, even though I do have pretty good luck at winning the first time I play a game, to me, the first time playing it is actually learning it. And then, okay, let's play it again. And then I'm actually going to be able to play it and put some thought and strategy into it. But his games have always been overwhelming to me, even though they are usually great games and pretty easy. Once you get the grasp, it's really easy to play.
Yeah, I think this one might be one of the easier ones to understand as you're playing.
I was about to say, if you were going to say this is one of the harder ones, I was going to disagree.
Like, one thing is if one person is familiar with the game, they might be able to tell somebody, it's like, oh wait, if you do, those are the 3 actions you picked. If you do that one first, it can actually get you another keshi of the color that you're about to do and make that action then stronger. You can kind of play through the first game and also give them an idea of, think about the order that you want to take those actions in. And I like that. Some people think that the tower is a weird thing just tacked onto the game.
Oh, I love the tower.
I think that a lot of times you will get all the keshis out, but there's those few times where it's like, okay, I'm going to take the black action, I need the black keshi, and I'm picking first, so I'm guaranteed to get this black keshi, and then it doesn't come out. And then it's like, okay, now what am I doing? How am I going to do this? And then you also have to think, I need to plan, because in the future, that black keshi might come flying out again. And sometimes it might happen when somebody else is playing their black keshis, and so all of a sudden you've got 3 black keshis all come out at once, even though only two black keshis were put in to be dropped. And the uncertainty of the tower, I think it really adds.
I like that intrigue of it.
Adds
Yep,
to the game.
I
Because
agree.
if it was always like, okay, if I'm doing these 3 actions, I'm always getting
Right.
this color keshi.
Now, you may not always get that keshi because you're drafting it, so it may not come back to you. But I agree with you. I think the tower adds a little bit of random to it that is just enough for the game.
I like all the different ways that you can try to accomplish what you're trying to do. Do you need another keshi? There might be a scroll tile out there to get that keshi, or if you buy a gate of a particular color, you get a keshi of that color, and so while you get bonus points for having the gates match the color that you put them down, you might be like, you know what, forget it. I would get 2 points if I put a brown here, but I really need another blue keshi, so I'm going to put my blue tower there and not get the points for it, but I got another blue keshi because
Yep.
you needed that blue keshi. They have red gates which don't have a spot on the board, so if you really need a red keshi, you can get the red gate and just put it on some other colored gate spot. You don't get the bonuses, but you get the keshi. There's just moving up on the stairs can get you that keshi.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways that it's like, okay, I can work my way through with these actions of getting the keshis that I need or getting the resources that I need. And so there's so many different paths that you can take to get what you want.
Yeah. So sometimes you even have to, if you've seen our review of Lost Ruins of Arnak, sometimes you even have to look at your end goal and work backwards to find the best way to achieve what you're looking for that round.
Because there'll be times where it's like, okay, I've got a really strong action to move up the black staircase, but my white staircase is so far back I wouldn't get the bonus for it. So it's like, okay, let's pass that black action down to a future round. What can I do to get the white guy to move up far enough? Do I take the white action that bumps him up a couple, and then the white action that moves him up, and then I'm ripe to be like, okay, I'm going to take the black action now. And there's things like that where it's like, okay, if I do this, then I'll be in a position for a future round to do something stronger. And I like that. For game mechanics, we do 0 to 7 range, and I'm giving it the full 7.
Yeah. The only negative I would say is that it's a table hog. I mean, it is with 4 players. You're going to need a bigger table than a kitchen table. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to make it work with 4. We fill our table when it's just 3 people. Like, we're just on a folding table now, and it's filled the table with just 2 of us. So on the table we play board games on, it's crammed, but 3 people can play it easily. If we ever played with 4, we'd have to figure something out.
We played with 3 on this folding table.
Yeah, it was
and
tight.
Somebody had to sit opposite here, and I mean the boards are just butted right up against each other, and so you gotta get creative with the.
But I mean, there's no way to fix that because you need everything that is available here. So
You need a place for the tower.
Yep.
You need a place for the resources that get handed out.
I mean, the money's taking up a little bit more space, but that's a bonus we got with the city collection. That we got the metal money.
We got the metal coins that can be used with every game from the city collection. We didn't spend extra money for coins for each specific game.
Yep.
And so we just bust
So we
that
just
out.
pull this out every time we play a city collection. So that's my only negative to the game as well. So I'm with you. I'm giving it a 7.
7?
Yep.
All right. Do we go with the 0 to 3 fun factor?
What are you giving it?
I'm giving it the 3. I love this game.
You're giving it a 10?
This is a 10. Steffenfeld is getting a lot of 10s from me. We might need to rethink how we score things, but you know, if I start bumping some Felds down to 9s and 8s, then that means that things that aren't Felds are going to have to jump down to 7s and 6s. As we do more Steffenfelds, we might need to do a video just ranking our favorite Stefan Feld games.
Oh, that's something, because we've got quite a few of them.
We've got a lot. We seem to really like his style of, here's a wide open sandbox of a lot of things you can play with. Have fun, see what you can do.
I'm curious at how many we have. You're gonna have to check that out for me.
So I mean, we've already reviewed a few of them,
Yep.
and we've got more to go through. So
And you just picked up one the other day.
so we'll have to we'll have to get some more reviews of these down, and then do a video just ranking what order these 10 out of 10 games actually go in.
So are we just going to do the next few reviews of just Stefan Feld? We're going to have just a Stefan Feld series and then a ranking of all of our Stefan Feld games. That'd be interesting.
I mean,
that'd be interesting.
I think we're going to have to put, I don't know, maybe we do a run. What do you guys think? Do we do a run on just Stefan Feld games to get to that one, the big ranking Stefan Feld games faster?
He makes some good games.
So if that's something you guys are interested in, hey, let us know. Give this a like, comment. Let us know this is what you'd like us to try.
I haven't given my score.
So no, we're still talking about
okay.
my problem of how am I going to rank all these 10 out of 10 games.
Well, I am also giving it a 10. This is probably in my top 3 favorite games.
This game is what made the first 4 of the City Collection worthwhile.
Agreed.
If this game was a dud, I would have regretted backing the City Collection. This is what made the City Collection great.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this game is a $400 game, but
No.
This game is worth it, and the components in it are really good. They're wooden pieces.
Other versions of the game will have like cardboard gates.
Oh, really?
That you put down. There's a version of the game that has like wooden keshies, just enough for each player to get 12 to drop into the tower, and then when you take your keshies, you just set them next to your board, and then after everyone has drafted their keshies, you're like, I got a brown, so I take the brown cardboard piece.
Oh,
and
I don't
down.
like that.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
It puts it more in line of a normal board game price. I think it's
Okay.
like $60 for
Okay.
the one that has a bunch of cardboard.
I'm very spoiled with this version.
This version is like if you took what we paid in for the 4 and divided it by 4, getting it through the Kickstarter was cheaper than getting it new. I think it might be like $160 for the deluxe version.
to buy this now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's an expensive game.
Yeah.
The Queen games have gone up in price.
Yeah, I can't
considerably.
say if we had never played this game, I don't know if I would say, yep, I'll pay $160 for it. That would be tough.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough call to make. But getting it in that City Collection, I do. I absolutely love this game, and I would not part with it.
Yeah, it dropped it down to like the $100 range because it was $400 something for the 4. Granted, those other games probably aren't worth the
Right.
100 plus, but this being just over 100 I think is worth it with the components.
Yep, agreed. So yeah, it's clear. This one is staying.
So yeah, if you guys are interested, I would encourage you to maybe try the cheaper version. I would have problems playing the cheaper version, I think, just because I'd miss the...
Yeah, we've already
miss
played the
these
deluxe version, so...
components, but it's a good game. It's kind of annoying that they have so many... It's like 3 or 4 different buying levels that you can do. You know, like this deluxe version, and then this deluxe version, but like a little bit more cardboard. And then you got the essential that is like all cardboard pretty much, and there's so many. It's got to be a headache for them when someone's like, I'm missing a piece from my Marrakesh. It's like, which one? It's
the
weird.
cardboard gate.
But I can see why they would they would come out with a cheaper version of this game, because I'm sure there are people that are like, I really want to try this game. I don't want to spend $160 to
Right.
try this game, and I would not encourage anyone to pay $160 for this game unless you really want the deluxe fight experience and you think you would like it, because
And you have that kind of disposable income.
this is a really good Stefan Feld game.
Yep. I was about to give something away.
Oh,
But if we're ranking the Stefan Felds later, I gotta.
yeah, we gotta hold something back. Just keep our cards close to our chest.
Keep our gates up.
So yeah, I think that's it for Marrakesh.
Great game.
Do you guys like it? Were you guys able to get in on the first Kickstarter when the price was a little bit better? Still not a lot better, but
And if you don't like it, tell us why.
that'd be interesting to know, because the biggest thing I could see people not liking about this game is that they just don't like Feld games. That they don't
Yeah,
like.
this is definitely a
They
Feld
don't
game.
like the wide open. People call it kind of point salad, where it's like whatever you do, you're getting some points. But I mean, the trick is, how do I get the most points? So
If there's a Feld game you like, let us know in the comments below, and if we don't have it, we can look into it.
yeah, I don't think we don't own every single one.
No, we don't.
So if there's one that you guys think definitely needs to be on our list when we finally do,
Yeah.
let us know, and we'll try to get our hands on a copy to get that in the list.
So if you like what you're doing, if you like what we're doing,
We like what you're doing.
you're watching us. I mean, so of course we like it. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, like us. Tell your
us-
game friends.
Yeah, share us with people. We're slowly getting some subscribers. We're up to 65 now, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome. For this
probably-
just being something we're doing for fun, that's pretty cool.
yeah, we're not doing any advertising anywhere. So
This
we
is definitely not our
appreciate-
money maker. This is just us having fun going through our games.
We appreciate each and every one of you that subscribe and watch. So
So leave us a comment. Do you want us to keep going through some Feld games? Do you want us to keep on this trek, our next review be another one? Or do you want us to just throw some other stuff in there? We're trying to just look at games we haven't played, have played, and just go ahead and get them out. So we are sticking to the one a week video, and we've done pretty good. We're heading into April doing this. We got some pretty cool hats.
oh yeah, we didn't mention that. Lisa bought me a hat, and she ended up getting one for herself too.
Well, he can't be the only one with a cool
shelf
hat.
control hat. We're not doing any merch. So
This is just for us.
so yeah, we're not doing any
And no shelf
sellings.
control on this one because this one's staying with us.
We're
But
keeping it.
all right, so we'll see you next week with another game. We'll see what game that is.
Bye.
Bye, guys.